The showdown over the Palestinians' bid for UN statehood has reached the 11th hour. Despite strong pressure from the United States, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas says he will ask the UN for full membership.
Abbas is making his speech to the General Assembly tomorrow. As Chris Mitchell reports, that has led to tensions in New York and the Middle East.
Sentiment both for and against the Palestinian state declaration is running high on the streets of New York as the Palestinians claim they'll forge ahead with their demand for UN recognition. Israel is not only concerned about a possible upgrade in status for the Palestinians at the UN, there is also concern that in the process, Abbas may try to redefine the borders, and that could raise friction levels at checkpoints between Israel and the Palestinians. Israeli forces are already at higher alert levels as Palestinians demonstrated Wednesday after President Obama's speech. Palestinian officials in New York have warned that violence is inevitable if they are denied a state. They're said to be angry with the U.S. for insisting on direct negotiations with Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's grateful for the U.S. stance.
I think the Palestinians want to achieve a state through the international community, but they're not prepared yet to give peace to Israel in return. And my hope is that there will be other leaders in the world, responsible leaders, who will heed your call, Mr. President, and oppose this effort to shortcut peace negotiations.
As if the Palestinian drama wasn't enough, the General Assembly is set to hear from Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. The UN may be focused on Palestinian statehood, but Iran's nuclear quest could soon force the world body to pay closer attention. Chris Mitchell, CBN News at the United Nations.
Well, it is the 11th hour, and if this goes forward, the concept here is that they don't want to negotiate. The Palestinians don't want to negotiate with Israel, because in that process, they will have to recognize that Israel has a right to exist. That's why there's been 20 years of peace talks with nothing to show for it. 18 years ago, they were offered statehood by Israel. They were offered land by Israel, and they turned it down. And the reason Arafat turned it down is that he couldn't come to peace with his sworn enemy, and their statement stands. They want to wipe Israel off the map. They want to drive Israel to the sea. So if this goes forward, all that's going to result is a terrorist state bent on the destruction of Israel. We're issuing a call to prayer. We're going to have more information on that, but I urge you today, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for Israel. CBN, we stand with Israel. We will always stand with Israel. And we ask that you pray for her and pray for the people there and pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN newsroom. Lee?
Gordon, Israel is expected to be one of the issues in tonight's Republican presidential debate in Florida. Texas Governor Rick Perry spoke out supporting Israel and against a Palestinian state this week in New York. Former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum, though, says he's forgotten more about Israel than Perry knows about it. The candidates will also be talking about jobs, the economy, and each other's records. CBN News will have a full report on the debate on tomorrow's 700 Club. The logo of the Palestinian mission at the United Nations indicates there is no Israel in the Middle East. The logo shows a map of Palestine, and it covers all of the land that Israel now inhabits. There is no Israel anywhere on the map. The logo says Palestinian Liberation Organization on top and National Unity below. The Weekly Standard Online says the logo indicates that the Palestinians have no desire to recognize a state of Israel. And as Gordon mentioned earlier, CBN founder Pat Robertson has issued a call to prayer for Israel as the United Nations considers the vote on Palestinian statehood. Many observers believe such a state could lead to devastating attacks on the Jewish state. Pat has asked for prayer that the UN will not vote to create a Palestinian state, that Israel will never be divided into two kingdoms, that the U.S. will remain a strong supporter of Israel, and for the peace of Jerusalem. CBN centers around the world joined in, putting the call to prayer on their websites and posting video and commentary from centers from the Philippines to Ukraine, along with television messages and email bulletins. Gordon?
Well, it's wonderful that we can call the Christians around the world to pray for Israel. And it's also interesting that we're living in these times. You know, I shake my head. How would it ever happen that the nations of the world would gather against Israel? Well, we're seeing it unfold over the next 24 hours as the UN considers whether or not to recognize Palestine. Is this the beginning of that?